Welcome back to the program. Today, we are diving into one of the most unconventional and, frankly, polarizing health protocols I have ever encountered. It is a text attributed to a figure named Yashao, and it challenges everything we think we know about longevity.
It really does, Ariel. The Yasho method isn't just a diet or an exercise plan, it's a complete re-engineering of the human biological experience. It focuses on a single central element, heat. The goal is to live beyond normal by maintaining a constant internal fire.
Wait, before we get too deep into the fire of it all, let's be honest. When I first read this, it sounded less like health advice and more like a manual for a medieval alchemist. I mean, smoking cinnamon and drinking Coca-Cola for health? Ariel, we have to look at this critically.
That is exactly why you are here, Nico, to keep us grounded. But Sasha, let's start with that core premise you mentioned. This idea that for the body to transform, we must live beyond normal and keep our body temperature high 24/7. What is the logic there?
The logic is that heat is the ultimate catalyst. In chemistry, heat speeds up reactions. In this protocol, heat is viewed as the only element capable of burning everything, meaning toxins, disease, and even the process of aging itself. It's about keeping the metabolic engine at a permanent redline.
But Sasha, the human body is designed for homeostasis. We have very tight regulations for our internal temperature for a reason. If we were actually hot all the time in the way this suggests, wouldn't that just be a chronic fever? That's usually a sign of illness, not peak performance.
That's a fair point, Nico. But how does Yashao suggest we generate this heat? It's not through a sauna or a heating pad. It's through something much more physically demanding, the daily handstand.
Exactly. The protocol specifies a daily routine of handstands, but not just the standard version. It calls for finger stands, knuckle stands, which it calls Nako stands, and regular handstands. The idea is to use gravity and extreme muscular tension to force blood and energy to the upper extremities and the head.
A finger stand? Honestly, Ariel, how many people can actually do a finger stand? That requires incredible tendon strength. It feels like this protocol is designed for someone who is already an elite gymnast or a martial arts master, not the average person looking to get healthy.
It certainly sets a high bar for entry. But look at the schedule, Sasha. It says to live 7 days, but give 3 days for your handstand. That suggests a cycle of intense effort followed by, well, something else. It's not a 24/7 grind, but the heat generated is supposed to last.
Right, the 3 days of handstands are the ignition phase. By putting the body under that kind of intense pressure, literally standing on your fingers, you are creating a massive amount of internal friction. That friction is the source of the heat that Yashao claims will transform the tissues.
I'm still hung up on the burning everything part. If you're using handstands to generate heat to burn things, what exactly are we burning? Are we talking about fat? Or is this more metaphorical, like burning away stagnant energy?
The text suggests it's literal. It mentions detoxification through mucus and moving from a state of being sensitive to numb. It's almost like a hardening process. Sasha, what about the recovery part, the bone cracking and the massaging?
This is where it gets into structural alignment. After the heat is generated, you have to message your back muscle and crack your backbone, neck bone, and all your finger bones. Then a headstand. It's about ensuring that the heat and the blood flow can move freely through the skeletal system.
Cracking your own neck and back sounds like a recipe for a trip to the emergency room if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I get the aha moment here. It's about decompression after the compression of the handstand. But the DIY nature of it is terrifying, Ariel.
It's definitely high risk, Nico. But let's move to the part of the protocol that is perhaps the most controversial, the Abraxas smoke. The text literally says, You must be a smoker, smoke Abraxas. Abraxas is the magic that cure all disease.
This is a fascinating alchemical mixture. It's a blend of weed, ground cinnamon powder, turmeric, black pepper, and tobacco. Yasho calls it smoking the god. When you look at the ingredients, you see a mix of anti-inflammatories like turmeric and pepper combined with stimulants and psychoactives.
Sasha, you cannot be serious. Smoking turmeric and cinnamon, those are culinary spices. They are meant to be digested, not inhaled. The particulates alone would be incredibly irritating to the lungs. How can something that causes respiratory inflammation be a cure for disease?
That's the paradox, isn't it? We usually think of smoking as the enemy of health. But in this framework, the smoke is another delivery system for heat. It's bringing the fire directly into the lungs and the bloodstream. And we know that black pepper contains piperine, which helps the body absorb turmeric.
Exactly, Ariel. While we usually see that synergy in supplements, here it's being used in a combustible form. The tobacco and weed act as the base, the carriers, while the spices provide the medicinal heat. It's a very aggressive form of herbalism.
I just don't see how the magic outweighs the damage. If you're trying to live a long life, why would you systematically damage your lung tissue with ground cinnamon? It feels like this protocol values intensity over sustainability at every single turn.
Maybe intensity is the point, Nico. The text says we must live beyond normal. Normal life is comfortable, but normal life leads to aging and decay. This is clearly an attempt to shock the system into a different state of being. Speaking of shock, let's talk about the diet.
The dietary aspect is just as wild. Two main components, olive oil and Coca-Cola. A small cup of olive oil twice a day and 2 cans of Coke, one in the morning and one at night. It's a combination of pure, high-density fat and pure, high-speed sugar.
Okay, stop. 2 cans of Coke a day? That's about 78 grams of processed sugar. We know what that does to insulin levels, to the liver, to inflammation. How does Yashao justify that in a health recipe? It feels like the opposite of detox.
It's definitely a head-scratcher. But if we look at it through the lens of heat and fuel, maybe there's a logic. Sasha, could the sugar be the kindling for the metabolic fire while the olive oil is the slow-burning log?
That's a great analogy, Ariel. Olive oil is rich in polyphenols and healthy fats, which we know are great for longevity. But the Coke, it provides a rapid spike in glucose. If you are doing knuckle stands and generating massive heat, maybe the body is using that sugar immediately as a high-octane fuel source.
But at night, drinking a Coke at night, that would wreck your sleep architecture. And yet the protocol says you must sleep a lot, 10 hours a day. How are you supposed to get 10 hours of quality sleep with all that caffeine and sugar in your system?
That's the contradiction, Nico. But maybe the 10 hours of sleep is necessary because the rest of the protocol is so taxing. The handstands, the smoking, the temperature shifts. The body might need that extra long recovery window just to survive the day.
And don't forget the showers, hot water daily, twice a day, morning and night. It's another layer of external heat. It's like the protocol is trying to trap the body in a thermal sandwich. Internal heat from the smoke and handstands, external heat from the water.
It sounds exhausting. Honestly, I'm getting tired just listening to it. But I am curious about this sensitive and numb thing Ariel mentioned earlier. The text says we need to use heat handstand, detox mucus, sensitive, and numb. What does that mean in a practical sense?
I think it refers to the nervous system. When you start this, you are sensitive. You feel the pain of the handstand, the harshness of the smoke. But as you transform, you become numb to the external environment. Not numb in a bad way, but resilient, unfazed.
I agree. It's like the hardening of a blade. You heat it up, you hammer it, you quench it, You're taking a soft, sensitive human body and forging it into something that doesn't get old, something that can withstand anything. It's a very Spartan approach to biology.
But at what cost? If you're numb, are you still enjoying life? If you're spending 10 hours sleeping and the rest of the time doing handstands and smoking Abraxas, when do you actually live? Is the goal just to exist forever or to have a life worth living?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? Yashao ends the text by saying, maybe we don't get old by doing this recipe. It's a promise of immortality, or at least extreme longevity. For some people, that goal is worth any sacrifice, no matter how bizarre the method.
It's also worth noting the Abraxas name itself. In Gnosticism, Abraxas is a deity that represents both the divine and the terrestrial, the sun and the moon. By calling the smoke Abraxas, Yashao is suggesting that this mixture is a bridge between the physical body and a higher state of existence.
So it's a spiritual practice disguised as a health regimen. That makes a bit more sense why the science of it feels so backwards. If you're trying to achieve a mystical state, then drinking Coke and smoking turmeric is just part of the ritual. But as a health expert, Sasha, you can't actually recommend this, right?
Oh, absolutely not. From a clinical perspective, this is incredibly dangerous. The risk of stroke from the neck cracking, the respiratory damage from the smoke, the metabolic chaos from the sugar, it's a nightmare. But as a philosophy of the body, it's a fascinating outlier.
It's like a limit case for human experimentation. What happens when you push every variable to the extreme? Most of us seek balance, homeostasis. Yashao is seeking the opposite, a permanent state of high-energy disequilibrium.
I think I'll stick to my normal life then. I'll take the aging if it means I don't have to stand on my knuckles and smoke cinnamon. But I have to admit, the idea of burning away everything bad is a powerful image. We all want a clean slate sometimes.
And that's the aha moment, Nico. The realization that we have more control over our internal state than we think. Even if we don't go to the extremes of the Yashao protocol, we can still use elements like heat, movement, and intentional rest to change how we feel.
Exactly. Maybe we don't need the Abraxas smoke, but we can take the lesson of the handstand, the idea of literally turning our perspective upside down and challenging our physical limits. There's a middle ground between normal and extreme that most of us haven't explored.
I can get behind that. A little more heat, a little more movement, but maybe keep the olive oil for the salad and the Coca-Cola for, well, maybe just skip the Coca-Cola entirely.
Fair enough, but you have to admit, the image of someone doing a finger stand while surrounded by a cloud of magic smoke is a pretty unforgettable vision of what beyond normal could look like.
It certainly is. It's a reminder that the human imagination is just as limitless as our potential for physical endurance. Whether Yashao is a genius or a madman is up for debate, but his recipe certainly makes us question the boundaries of health.
Wait, I just thought of something, man. The text mentions detox mucus. Does that mean he thinks coughing up gunk from the smoke is actually a good thing? Like the smoke is grabbing the toxins and bringing them out?
That's exactly how those ancient purification theories worked, Nico. They saw the body's reaction to an irritant, like coughing or sweating, as a sign that the body was successfully expelling evil humors or toxins. It's a very old-school way of looking at biology.
It's a no pain, no gain philosophy taken to its absolute logical conclusion. If it doesn't hurt, it's not working. If it doesn't burn, it's not healing. It's the ultimate rejection of the modern comfort culture.
Well, I think I've had enough heat for one day. My brain is already starting to feel a bit numb from trying to process all this. Is there anything else in this recipe we missed? What about the sensitive part?
The sensitive part is interesting because it's listed right next to numb. It suggests a cycle. You become sensitive to the world, you take in the information, and then you become numb to the pain so you can act. It's about becoming a more effective instrument of life.
It's about mastery. mastering the body so that it no longer dictates your limits. If you can stand on your fingers, if you can handle the fire of Abraxas, what else can you do? That's the beyond normal promise.
It's a seductive promise, Ariel. I can see why someone would be drawn to it. We all want to feel like we're more than just normal. We all want to believe there's a secret recipe for staying young forever.
And that is why these kinds of texts persist. They tap into our deepest desires and our greatest fears. The fear of aging, the fear of disease, the fear of being just another person. Yashao offers a way out, if you're brave enough to take it.
Or crazy enough? But that's the beauty of exploring these ideas, isn't it? It forces us to define where our own boundaries are. It makes us ask, how far would I go to live a very healthy life?
I think I found my boundary, and it's somewhere between the knuckle stand and the ground cinnamon powder. But I'll definitely be thinking about that 10 hours of sleep. That part sounds like heaven.
Honestly, Nico, that might be the most scientific part of the whole thing. Most of us are chronically sleep deprived. If people just did that, slept 10 hours and took hot showers, they'd probably feel beyond normal without the smoke.
There you have it, the Yashao Protocol, a mix of ancient alchemy, modern metabolic hacking, and a very large dose of don't try this at home. Sasha, thanks for the expert analysis. Nico, thanks for keeping us from lighting our spice cabinets on fire.
Anytime, Ariel. I'll keep my cinnamon in my oatmeal. Thank you very much.
And I'll keep looking for the next magic cure to deconstruct. This was a wild one.
Before we wrap up, let's take one last look at the why. Yashao says, to live a very healthy life, do this. It's so simple, yet so complex. It's the ultimate life hack from someone who seems to be living in a different reality entirely.
You know, Ariel, I was just thinking, if you're doing handstands for 3 days a week, you're basically training to be an athlete. Even without the magic smoke, that kind of physical discipline would change your body. Maybe that's the real secret, the discipline, not the spices.
That's a great point, Nico. The Abraxas and the Coke might just be the window dressing for a very intense physical training program. It's the ritual that keeps you committed to the hard work of the handstands.
It's the placebo effect on steroids. If you believe you're smoking the god, you're probably going to push yourself a lot harder in your finger stands. The psychology of the protocol is just as important as the physiology.
So it's about the story we tell ourselves. If we tell ourselves we're transforming into something beyond normal, our bodies might just follow suit. Within reason, of course.
Exactly. The mind is the ultimate regulator of the heat Ariel mentioned. If the mind says we are burning everything, the body starts to prioritize that metabolic fire. It's a feedback loop.
Well, whether you're ready to stand on your head or just take a longer nap today, I hope this deep dive into the Yashao method has given you something to think about. It's a strange world out there, and the ways we try to stay healthy are even stranger.
Definitely. I'm going to go have a cup of olive oil now. Just kidding. I'll stick to my regular breakfast, but I might try a regular handstand against a wall for 5 seconds.
That's a start, Nico. Just watch your neck. And maybe skip the Nako version for now.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the alchemical body. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and maybe keep your spices in the kitchen. This is Ariel, signing off.
This is Sasha. Stay warm, everyone.
And this is Nico. Sleep well, maybe even for 10 hours if you can.
Actually, before we go, I just noticed one more thing in the text. Yashao mentions sensitive and numb in the context of the Nodi daily. It's a typo, obviously meaning body, but it almost sounds like a new word for this transformed state. The Nodi.
The Nodi. I like it. It's like the new body. the body that has been through the fire and come out the other side. It's a body that doesn't get old because it's been forged daily.
Ariel, you're making it sound cool again. Stop it. I'm trying to stay skeptical over here, but the noti does have a certain ring to it, like a futuristic biohack.
It really does. It's that aha moment we talked about. The realization that even a short, typo-filled text can contain a whole world of philosophy if you look closely enough. It's about the intent behind the action.
And the intent here is clear. Total transformation. No half measures. You don't just exercise, you live beyond normal. You don't just eat healthy, you smoke the God and drink the oil. It's a call to radical action.
I guess that's the takeaway. Even if we don't follow the recipe, we can adopt the radical mindset. We can stop settling for normal health and start asking what our bodies are truly capable of.
A perfect place to end. Whether you're a skeptic like Nico or an explorer like Sasha, the Yashao Protocol is a testament to the human desire to transcend our own biology. Thanks for listening.
It's been a pleasure. Now, I think I'll go find a nice hot shower.
And I'm going to go check my cinnamon supply. For baking. Just for baking.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode where we might look at something a little less combustible. Or maybe not. You never know with this show.
Wait, Ariel, one last thing. We didn't talk about the black pepper and turmeric in the smoke. Did you know that in some traditions, those are used to clear the third eye?
Oh boy, here we go again. Sasha, we are out of time. Save the third eye for the next episode.
Ha! Sounds like a plan. The third eye and the tobacco. Stay tuned for that one. Bye for real this time.
Bye.
See ya.
Actually, Sasha, wait. I can't let that go. Clearing the third eye through the lungs? That's a whole different level of heat. Is there any historical precedent for that?
Well, Ariel, if you look at certain shamanic practices in the Amazon, they use rapé, which is a sacred snuff made of tobacco and various ashes. It's blown up the nose to clear the mind and open the senses. Yashao's Abraxas seems like a smoked version of that.
So it's not just a health thing, it's a perception thing. He's trying to change how he sees the world, not just how he lives in it. That explains the sensitive and numb states even more.
It really does. It's about shifting the baseline of consciousness. If you're constantly hot and your senses are being blasted by Abraxas, you're living in a different reality than the person sitting at a desk all day.
Exactly. It's a total immersion in a specific biological state. Most people dip their toes into health. A salad here, a jog there. Yashao is diving into a volcano.
A volcano of Coca-Cola and cinnamon. It's still a weird volcano, Sasha, but I get the point. It's about the intensity of the experience.
And on that note of volcanic health, we really are out of time. Thanks for the extra insight, Sasha. It really rounds out the picture of what Yashao was trying to achieve.
My pleasure, Ariel. There's always more to uncover when you look at these fringe texts.
Just don't uncover any more smoking recipes for a while, okay? My lungs are starting to ache just from the description.
Deal. Next time, something purely liquid. Or maybe just air. We'll see. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Take care.